guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to read this pretty entertaining article or blog post, which is titled, I'm a feminist and I still want a man to pick up the bill. And guys, this blog post is written by a gal. She is obviously a self-proclaimed feminist. She's a writer. I guess she lives in the Netherlands because she says she's Dutch, and goes into this whole ridiculous thing about how men should pay the bill, obviously on first dates, that type of thing, well actually all dates, and on and on and on with all this ridiculous, hilarious, feminist mumbo jumbo. And at the end of the day, when I finish this article, this is only going to reinforce why so many of you guys are done dating, given that so many like this, with this attitude, are out there. And also is not going to surprise you that I believe upon, doing a little looking around, I think this woman is single. Big surprise there. And this goes to show you why, again, so many guys are backing out of the whole dating scene with this attitude that's quite prevalent nowadays, and how these gals sabotage each other. It's absolutely freaking hilarious. And as I go through this, I'm obviously going to debunk or counter a lot of the crap that she says, but it's not going to surprise any of you. And it goes to show you that, well, really not a whole lot's changed since I started this channel and the attitudes out there. So it starts off, she says here, there's a growing trend of splitting the bill on dates in the name of feminism. But as a woman, I still get the ick when a man doesn't pay, especially on the first date. To me, it feels like feminism and more like performative equality. In my opinion, if a man is truly an educated feminist through and through, he would pick up the bill without making a sound. Well, I've said many times, they're all about equality until it's time to shovel some snow or pay the dinner bill. Right here. But I want to point out, I looked her up, and she has an Instagram, like 11,000 followers or something like that. And in my opinion, I'm not sure how old she is. I really didn't dig that much. I'm guessing between late 20s, early 30s, blonde. She's Dutch, so of course she's blonde. And in my opinion, from the things I glanced over, she obviously is good looking. She can get guys, so she knows she can pull this crap and get guys to obviously pay. Whether they want to stick around or not, that's something else. She goes on and says here, as a quote, she's a gold digger. Let's get one thing straight. Women are not gold diggers for wanting men to pay on a date. Well, may not be gold diggers for wanting to pay on a date, but many are gold diggers, and many know darn well that a guy will pay on the date. Many women out there do foodie dates. They go out with a guy who they're not interested to get him to pay the thing, to get him to get a free meal. This is why I say always the first date, a drink, nothing more. And a lot of women like her would turn you down. But then again, hey, why would you want to go out with her in the first place? She says, honey, if I was a gold digger, I'd be on this date. I wouldn't be on this date with you. I'd be in Ibiza or Ibiza, however the fuck they pronounce that place, lost between yachts or trying to marry your grandfather who owns that house that he bought in the 80s. A woman wanting you to pick up dinner or drinks isn't about wealth. It's about showing that she's valued and appreciated as a woman in today's society. Well, what makes her think that she can go pick up dudes that have yachts? That's kind of a bit of an ego there. I think she's above average looks, but she's not that good looking, for goodness sake. But, no. In today's world, these types are babbling on about equality. Then what's the problem splitting the bill? Because you're cheap. That's why. Because you like the free meals. That's why. Performative feminism. Oh my God. Men who insist on splitting the bill on the first date but shame women for their body type or not shaving can go straight to jail, in my opinion. Really? Prison for that? That's not feminism. That's using women's hard work in the fight for equality for your benefit, while doing little to nothing to actually stand with them against the patriarchy. What the hell are you talking about, honey? She probably will get mad at me for calling her honey. The hard truth is, women and men are not equal yet. Actually, we're still pretty far from being equal, especially financially. So let's unpack that. Oh, here we go. She says here, do you know how much it costs to be a woman? Okay, listen to this. Upholding beauty standards set mostly by men like being skinny, hairless, and naturally beautiful. Buying menstrual products every month, paying for birth control directly or through supplemental insurance, taking more alternative medical routes because of the lack of research in healthcare for women, cleaning products for our vulva because we should not smell like ourselves but like flowers, and more transportation costs just so we don't get kidnapped. Okay, so let's cut through the crap. Really, you think you're going to get kidnapped? Cleaning products so that your hoo-ha doesn't smell. Well, isn't that, I think a lot of women would have a problem if a guy's you-know-what smells god-awful, so, it's not a wrong for, having some fragrances or whatever so it doesn't smell like the Sarlacc pit down there. What other crap is she babbling on about? Buying menstrual products every month. It's our fault that you have to buy menstrual products every... Are we going to go back to the fucking Adam and Eve and the whole... that thing, and that's why they have to deal with childbirth and the suffering? Really? What else? Paying for birth control? Well, unless you want to have kids. Listen to this crap. All the while, we still have a pay gap of around 20 to 22% worldwide for the same work as men do. No. That has been debunked a long time ago, honey. So let's face it, we live in a world where women get paid less and it costs more to be one. You don't think it costs a lot to be a guy? How much we have to pay, how much we're expected to pay for it, like right here? Come on here. The mental and physical prep. We live in a capitalistic system, which means time equals money. How much time someone spends getting ready for a date is personal and varies a lot. Still, there's one factor in getting ready, routine that men rarely have to deal with: societal pressure. And surprise, surprise, beauty standards. Men are expected, at least if they actually want to get a chick to pay attention to them, they got to take a shower. That's going to take some time. Some either they shave or need to groom themselves properly up there. That takes time. Plenty of other things. Usually guys are expected to pick the girl up. They shouldn't always do that, but they do. That takes time. There's a lot of things. And men's wardrobe to go shopping. That takes time. But you're making all the women spend all this time? So in my experience, I guess what women may take a long time because they choose to take a long time. If they don't like a guy, they're not going to spend a lot of time getting ready. But if they like a guy, they themselves can go through 19 different outfits. Okay? I have a sister. I know what she was like when she was younger. Come on here. That's not our fault. Women face far more pressure to look polished, effortless, and desirable, which often results in longer routines driven not by preference but by expectation. Studies point to the role of beauty bias in this. Women are judged more harshly on appearance, while men are granted more leeway. As Medical Daily notes, these pressures directly influence how much time and energy women invest in getting ready. Okay, so everybody knows darn well, most people know, that the number one way to attract a man is through looks. It is what it is. But here's the thing. She can complain about all the time they got to spend in getting ready for these unfair beauty standards. But at the end of the day, women know darn well that the better you look physically, the more you're going to attract a guy. So they're going to definitely spend time doing themselves up by their choice to get a certain guy. That's on them. And while it's different a little bit in terms of the level of importance looks are to women compared to men, because usually it's not as important to women as it is men, it's still important. But what are things that men need to have at the top of the list for women? I don't know, status, income, resources, all that. So the guy has to bust his tail for a long freaking time to get said status, degrees, titles, income, assets. So they have to work hard too. It's just in a different way. Stop complaining about it. And by the way, again, I saw her on Instagram, and let me tell you, it looks like she doesn't have a problem doing herself up. What else? Aftermath of a date. Should a man make sure a woman gets home safe after a date? She questions. Yes, always. Do men always do that? No. Okay, so that's another thing we got to pay for them to get home? Really? She got there fine. She can get home fine. And again, define the date. Is this in her idea like a few hours of whining and dining the girl, paying for her dinner, paying for a show, paying for this? I say always, guys, first date, keep it inexpensive. And if the girl doesn't like it or rejects you because of that, believe me, that just weeded out the type you don't want to go out with. Too often women are dropped off after midnight with no offer of a ride home or an Uber. This means we have to factor our own safety and the costs that come with it. While many men can simply walk home or take public transit without a second thought, women often don't have that luxury. You got there, didn't you? You can get home. Again, If this is the modern era where women are just as capable as men can, I'm sure any woman with a brain can figure out how to get home. She got to the restaurant or the bar or whatever. This is ridiculous. She goes on in her silly rant here. Woman's safety. Recently, I saw a post where a man asked a woman, "But who will protect you in a world with no men?" And she answered back, "Protect us from whom?" The post hit me like a truck because it shines a light on the double standards straight or bisexual women encounter when they're dating men. More man bashing. Is any wonder she's probably single. Who will protect you? And she says, well, there'll basically be no need because there's no men. There are dangerous women out there. There are women that are, you have a whole world full of women. Believe me, you're going to have ones that are, going to lose it and could harm others. And then there's other things. They desire a man to protect them, keep them safe, all the while they're at risk of being harmed by the same male sitting in front of them. Around the world, barriers that should protect women, public safety, measures, legal systems, culture, still fail too many. Really? And she's in the West? I think women have it pretty darn well nowadays here. And sadly, we all know who's been really at a disadvantage for a long time. Very unfair system. She says millions of women face S-word violence every year, also by dates and friends. And research shows that worldwide, every 10 minutes, a woman still dies because of femicide. She called it femicide. Well, that's awful that awful things happen in this world, and that's sad. That'd be a perfect world that didn't happen. But it doesn't mean that every guy in front of you is going to behave in such a manner. And these types tend to bring this stuff up like it's happened to everybody they know and stuff like that. So a woman agreeing to a date already takes courage and trust, which is a responsibility a man shouldn't take lightly. Courage and trust. If they're meeting out in the middle of nowhere, okay, courage and trust. If they're meeting at the freaking bar at Applebee's or Outback or Cheesecake Factory or a local thing that's not a chain, I think they're going to be okay and don't have to have a lot of courage and trust for an appetizer at Applebee's, for heaven's sake. Emotional labor of being with a man. Oh, here we go. She says, on top of the physical risk, women will carry an enormous amount of unseen, unappreciated, and unpaid emotional labor in relationships with men. We're basically a free therapist, life coach, emotional punching bag, and housekeeper rolled into one. Okay, let me address that. Housekeeper. Okay, you're living together. What? So the man has to do all the cleaning and she just sits there and watches, looks at a TikTok on her phone all day? No, she's going to help clean. Free therapist and life coach. Well, I agree a man shouldn't be going to his wife or girlfriend and be his therapist, but he can talk about some things. But here she's complaining about it. Emotional punching bag. Well, nobody should be anybody's emotional punching bag. I'll give her that. Bitch, 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 and complain. Listen to this. Yes, more and more relationships are evolving when it comes to splitting household tasks, and thank God for that. But the emotional labor, that part is still very much alive and kicking. Men often learn and grow from the emotional wisdom, patience, and communication skills of women, while many of them unfortunately drain us of all our spark in the process. Well, she's trying to say that men will observe how women behave and socialize and do things like that, and that's a good thing. Well, that's actually not a good thing, because men actually behaving like women has caused even more divide and problems out there. Men behaving like women is what the feminists have been trying to do, and look how well that's turned out. And lastly, let's not forget the therapy bill and sometimes that follows. In my case, and I know I'm far from alone, I've ended up in therapy after 3 of my relationships with men. Thousands of euros out of my own pocket to process the emotional neglect and damage left behind, just to give myself a fair chance of not completely giving up on love. Honey, if you've been in therapy 3 separate times because of 3 different guys, maybe it's possible that you're too darn picky. Maybe you got your own issues that aren't directly caused by men. Maybe you need to work on yourself. That's your own issues. But it's easier just to blame guys. Seriously, this is ridiculous. Now what she says. I love to live in a world where men and women are equal. We are not the same, but equal in rights, choices, safety, and opportunity. Sadly, that world looks more and more like a utopia than reality right now. So yeah, as long as inequality, risk, and cost burdens are real and unevenly distributed, I want a man to pick up the bill. On the first date, the second date, the third date, and more. Until I feel sure I'm entering a partnership where effort, awareness, and equality are genuinely mutual. God Almighty, again, if she's, I believe she's single. Maybe she's not. Who knows? But I think she is. Big surprise. And if she isn't single, she ain't going to be in a relationship very long. Who wants to date this? Who wants to be in a relationship with this? My God, lady. There's no making her happy. But some people in this world aren't happy unless they're miserable. So men, if you want to split the bill on the first date, be my guest. But I hope you're actively fighting in other ways to make a woman's lies less expensive, less dangerous, and more equal. All the while having absolutely no misogyny in your mouth. And women, if a man suggests splitting early on, check his feminism. See if he actually understands what feminism entails instead of using it as an excuse to put even less effort than generations of men already have. Let's stop normalizing men using feminism to serve their own convenience. Good God Almighty. This is ridiculous. Guys, if you don't believe, I'll post a link in the description as well as the top of the comment section. You can go see that this is real. She also has an important note here. Okay, more shit. She says, this piece zooms in on gender inequality. I'm aware there are many, many forms of inequality, but it's impossible to cover everything in a single article. I'm aware that sexism isn't the only system that results in financial disadvantages. Each system of oppression works differently and brings its own interpersonal dynamics, and those deserve their own conventions. Conversations, my bad. It's getting dark, I couldn't read that word. So there you go, guys. I'm going to read a few comments here, which you'll find pretty amusing. But, if this girl has such an issue with men, if maybe perhaps she could try out women. And she might find that they can be just as much of a pain in the butt as supposedly us guys can be. Are there guys out there that could be a problem? Sure. There are guys out there that are jerks and have issues and stuff like that. But most guys are actually good guys and normal guys and all that. And frankly, those normal good guys out there are tired of BS like this, being made up to be the bad guys here. I mean, this is ridiculous. I don't know what happened to her. And again, I think she looks like she's between late 20s, early 30s. She's above average looks, in my opinion, being almost 48. So she can get away with this pickiness and being a pain in the butt. And she'll probably still have guys that'll want to take her out. But the day's going to come and she's going to get older and she's not going to be as visually appealing. And good luck with all that, honey. I mean, my God almighty. Now, a couple comments here. One guy says here, this piece is peak selective feminism, loudly proclaiming equality while clinging to the most convenient traditional perks. The author demands men pay the bill as proof of allyship, framing it as a compensation for systematic inequalities. Yet somehow this obligation applies universally, even when the man earns less, and only in dating, not in any other context. It's not empowering, it's rebranding chivalry as progressive while shaming men who prefer genuine financial equality from date one as fake feminists. Yeah, here's the thing. What if the guy makes less money than her? He's still expected to pay for the first date, the second date, and the third date and all that? Oh, wait, she ain't going to date the guy who makes less money than her. Another guy says here, this article proves that feminists like you expect men to be traditional without women willing to be traditional themselves, which contradicts how feminism is supposed to be about equality and liberating both sexes of the oppressive, and he's saying that in quotes, gender roles regardless of the situation. Thus, revealing feminist hypocrisy is the sense of how feminists want to have their cake and eat it too at the man's expense. And there are other comments, but I think you guys get the points. So, there you go, guys. A little funny blog post to give you a good laugh on a Sunday before the week 2 days before Christmas starts. But, yeah, you can see how many of these types keep themselves single. And I'm telling you, if she keeps this attitude up, there's going to be no guy in the picture once she gets to definitely her late 30s or 40s or so. But and for you guys out there that are like, see, this is why I don't date. There's too much of this crap out there. This only reinforces the smart choice you've made in life. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.